FM. Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Welcome in. What a gorgeous day so far. Although we expect a little rain headed our way and not long from now. So enjoy that sunshine. We'll have the latest in how the rest of the weekend shapes up. Coming up momentarily in the broadcast, join us, if you will, on the phone for a free-for-all Friday. Your chance to rant, rave, ask a question, comment, concern, anything. We hand the floor to you coming up in just a bit on the air on a free-for-all Friday. So you get a chance to do that. Plus, we'll talk with the Small Business Administrator Kelly Loeffler. She'll be on with us.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. We'll be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team, as you've seen. Boy, they've just been working with folks right and left through the years. Me, many that listen to this program, each of us saving thousands, and man, we couldn't be happier. The interest rate, I can't tell you, it's so good. But you may be thinking to yourself, what if I need to buy or refi, maybe a home equity line of credit? Where do I even start? Dave can walk you through it, the steps that you need to take today to get ready for that process. It's just you're ready to go. HHMlending.com. You may be closer than you think.
Number one.
John Bolton, the find out era is here, pleads guilty. Yesterday, the news breaks. One felony count. He'll have to pay at least $2 million. Maybe a shot at some jail time in there as well, up to 5 years now. The question of how that all works out, well, just remains to be seen. But he's reached that plea deal. And of course, all around the idea that a felony count there of illegally retaining sensitive national security information. And of course, we'll find out his fate along with Bolton and the rest of the world June 26th. But another instance of, I believe, the find out era in full swing. People want to know.
Number two.
Where's the accountability?
News, weather, and traffic.
It's happening right now as we speak, folks. So that continues to be a big story. All right. What else is out there for you? Oh, another big one. The Senate passing Trump's $70 billion immigration enforcement packaging, skipping the weaponization fund ban. Early this morning, the Senate voting 52-47 to approve $70 billion for ICE and Border Patrol over the next 3 years, a major win for the president and the push for deportation. This is what you voted for. Democrats attempting to kill the separate $1.8 billion anti-weaponization settlement fund failed, so it remains untouched. Although where that goes in the future is also unknown. But the latest in that story, and speaking of finding out, I mentioned we're like right square in the middle of that era right now. And boy, the fraud, waste, and abuse is seeing the light now more than ever before. In fact, yesterday in Ohio, Small Business Administration announcing, and the administrator there, Kelly Loeffler, that they found another $1.1 billion in suspected PPP fraud. That's theft from the American people. And again, very seriously, rooting it out.
Expense of your taxpayers. But this administration is choosing accountability. Last month, the SBA referred 560,000 borrowers to the DOJ and Treasury. That's over 500,000 borrowers to start collections and prosecutions for $22 billion in suspected PPP fraud.
We're talking lots of money. And again, think about the videos we're seeing. Nick Shirley, and I know it's not the same case, but they're, separate instances, but uncovering everything in places like Minnesota and then California, Dr. Oz with the details about what they found out there. And you see all these luxury cars, these fraudsters are living the high life, and the American people stuck with the bill. That's just one of the stories we're following. In fact, Administrator joins us right now with the latest as the trip to Michigan takes flight today. Administrator, thank you so much for joining us here today. How are you?
Great. Wonderful to be on with you, Justin, and thrilled to be back in Michigan. So much going on here.
You do. You really do have quite a bit going on your plate as well. But, one of the things, and I want to talk about the fraud up front, but one of the things I want to talk about is, and, I guarantee that you all look at this as well, but the critical nature that Michigan has played in years past, but just to be able to get position and how important things are here to make sure that we do our best to get things ready as President Trump tries to bring the investment back here into the country, and some of the already great things that we've seen so far. So let's start with the fraud, because that's the juicy piece that people want to hear about this morning. But this is a big story.
Well, absolutely. And thanks to President Trump's leadership and fighting for the American people, he put Vice President Vance in charge of the White House Fraud Task Force. And in 60 days, we've already brought 550 law enforcement actions. And at the SBA, we're really leading the charge. You mentioned the $22 billion of fraud that we've already discovered in the COVID program that we've referred to Treasury and the DOJ, because our taxpayers deserve to see that there are consequences for ripping them off, and that we need to establish deterrence. And nothing does that like sending people to jail, which we announced 4 more indictments yesterday.
And to your point, it's so important. And I hear this quite often from folks. And there can be, I think, too, a tendency to I think there's a pull to get us frustrated about some of these things. And I that's why I think it's so important when we do see action in this case. There's lots of it happening behind the scenes, and the accountability does happen. People need to hear it so that they can understand, look, these things that you voted for behind the scenes are happening. Because again, to your point, if we don't see arrests in these cases, people are going to continue. They're going to continue to do this. But if they see that the American people take this seriously, and this administration, which it clearly does, takes it seriously, and you fool around, you will find out.
That's right. And for 4 years, Americans watched the Biden administration do nothing about known fraud that they knew about, that they earmarked as fraud, and then tried to sweep it under the rug. People all saw the Dodge Hellcat LLCs form up during COVID. Now there's accountability. And so it's a stark contrast to forgiving criminals' loans, to making them pay them back and serve jail time. And look, this is about the future, too. We need to fix the federal level fraud that is quite sophisticated in many cases, to ensure that the money's not going overseas, that it's not being wasted, and that those programs are there for those who need it. And then the good part will be taxpayers can keep more of their hard-earned dollars in their pockets. That's a big part of this too.
Yeah, it's such a good point. And I've heard this often brought up as well, which is, how much of the federal debt do we have now that if you peeled away the layers of the onion and you really dug in, how much will we find out is due to this waste, fraud, and abuse in this system that Democrats have allowed, and the swamp has allowed for years to take place at the expense of hardworking Americans?
Well, I'm sad to say it's a lot, but at least we have a benchmark to shoot at now. We know that the GAO, the government's own auditor, came out and said about $500 billion a year is taken through fraud, and then another $189 billion through improper payments. So that's the starting point to start bringing it back down from. And what's great about President Trump's cabinet that he's assembled is a lot of us come from the private sector. We've had private sector responsibility. Some of these things that happen in the government would never be tolerated in the private sector. So we're really putting that lens on it that says, what are we doing right by taxpayers? We have to be good stewards of their dollars, and we have to fix this so that it stops happening.
Yes, absolutely. Small Business Administration Administrator Kelly Loeffler with us right now, and we're talking about these stories. As a matter of fact, you are here in Michigan on this trip specifically. One of the things I know that the president has made a big part of this administration, and I've been ringing the alarm bell on this for folks here in Michigan to talk about the fact that this election coming up 2026, we get to elect here in Michigan a governor. We get to elect an attorney general, a secretary of state, and we also get to send maybe a senator, Republican, Mike Rogers, in for backup with President Trump there to the Senate. It's so critical. But one of the things I look at particularly is the president's real push to make things here in America again and get the investment pumping and moving in America to shore up the jobs and the production and all these things that obviously small businesses critical role in that. And I just take a look here in Michigan. I've been warning we've got to make sure we do the right thing coming up in 2026 here in this election in November, because as it stands right now, the Democrats have really they put up some roadblocks and they haven't made things. I think the best environment they can in Michigan. And so what can we do to make sure that we take full advantage of what the president is doing to lay it out and give us that upper hand? We've made things in Michigan forever. We put the world on wheels. We ought to be at the front of the line on this.
Well, absolutely right. Nowhere is it more clear than in Michigan, and I'm thrilled to be here for our supplier matchmaking. But let's be clear. You spoke about the consequences of 2026. Thanks to President Trump, we are a nation of builders again. We're building private sector companies. We have construction, manufacturing jobs coming back. Just look at today's blockbuster jobs report. 3 consecutive months of blowing away estimates now, creating hundreds of thousands of private sector jobs, something that never happened under the Biden administration, that wanted to grow the economy through big government. And look where that got us, into the waste, fraud, and abuse mess that we just talked about. So because President Trump has led us to become a nation of builders, and he's been fighting for this for decades, he's been talking about how America was hollowed out. We lost 70,000 factories, 5 million jobs, and the know-how that went along with it. And it's all coming back. And that's why today's event, the supplier matchmaking, is so important, because small business does build America. It's not only responsible for most of the jobs you saw today, but the innovation, the ingenuity, the grit, the hard work that happens on Main Street every day. That's who we're celebrating here. We have over 1,200 small businesses coming out to meet with a couple dozen large suppliers and about a half dozen federal agencies, from the Department of War to NASA to GM to Ford, Toyota, and some of our big aerospace and space exploration companies.
It is so critical and so much happening here, obviously, in Michigan. Think about how much more we could see here if we all get in line and pull together to bring things back, as the president's leading the way here in this. And speaking of which, so the Small Business Administration plays a bit of a critical role. Obviously, we always hear this, and you know, I mean, I think maybe we even take it for granted in some ways, but small business being the backbone of this economy. What do you see, obviously, maybe that we don't even know about or see? Maybe give us a little bit of an inside look as the things are lining up here, shaping up into the next year, maybe 5 down the road, that being the most critical, AI and everything else playing a role in the changing world that we live in.
Yeah, well, what's exciting right now, and I think one of the most underreported pieces of data that's out there, is that small business formation is at record levels. Literally, for this year, we've never seen this pace of business formation. So whether it's deregulation, technology, or probably most importantly, President Trump's key agenda item that he achieved in year 1, which is the working family tax cuts that removed burdens from small businesses, from job creators, that made permanent the 20% pass-through and 100% expensing of capital and equipment, and then things like no tax on overtime that 29 million Americans benefited from. I mean, think about that. 29 million families have more take-home pay simply because we're not penalizing them for their hard work. We're rewarding it. And so that makes a big difference on Main Street, because one of the top concerns when I talk to small businesses, and I do that every week across the country, whether it's the welders or the waitresses or the great manufacturers, most of which are small businesses, is they need that skilled workforce to come in. So we need to make sure that they're not getting their earnings taxed away.
It's so big, but we've heard so much on this, especially this last year, as we've seen the actual, show up in the paychecks, this idea that, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. How much has that played a role in helping the folks become even more successful?
Well, it meant that take-home pay for the average working family rose $3,500 last year. And it was the first time that wage growth outpaced inflation growth, because we know what happened under the Biden administration. The big government tax and spend Democrat policies of regulation and taxes caused wages to plummet while costs increased. The average price level increased about 21% over that 4-year period. So this is where elections matter. We need to make sure that we have spending in check at the federal level so that the workers aren't charged for it, and that the regulatory environment has some sanity. Things like Green New Scam, it drove everything from the cost of housing to transportation and everything else we do through the roof for farmers and truckers. And we're just now getting able to roll a lot of that back.
It is critical. I know you're going to stay on top of it. Please come back and give us an update as you have it, and enjoy your time here, Michigan. You should have some lovely weather while you're here, and we always welcome you back. Thank you for all the hard work.
It's going to be a great day. Thanks so much, Dustin.
Absolutely. There she is, the administrator. Small Business Administration, Kelly Loeffler with the latest, tackling the fraud straight on and setting things straight here in Michigan, hopefully getting folks on the right path that we could take full advantage of these things that the Trump administration is doing. All right, we've got more coming up. We'll talk to you, give you a chance to weigh in on this free-for-all Friday. 616-774-2424. You can jump in and join the conversation. Now, our good friend Kyle Olson is on the way today, too. Hang on, folks. We're just getting started.
Tackling the hot button issues with style. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9
Here are
FM.
your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, June 5th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Ann Arbor police asking city residents to turn in neighbors violating a ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. The fine for an initial violation is $100 and increases to $250 for subsequent violations. This ban stems from a citywide ordinance approved by the Ann Arbor City Council back in December of 2023 that aims to phase out the use of gas-powered leaf blowers in the city entirely by 2028. Michigan's wholesale marijuana tax bringing in just 33% of projected revenues for road repairs. And two foreign nationals who tried to smuggle monkeypox through the Detroit Metropolitan Airport while working as researchers for the government have been charged. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Remember how you felt at 25? Up early, locked in, and ready to go? Hey, it's Justin Barkley. If that edge is gone, it may not be your age. It could be low testosterone. Mentality starts with a full 100-point blood panel to get all the real answers. Then they build in a personalized plan with testosterone and targeted peptide therapy. 94% of men report renewed energy and focus within 60 days. Take your life back today at lowtusa.com.
Hey, it's Smitty, and if you've got...
Welcome in, folks, about a behind-the-scenes live stream. Full speed ahead on a Friday. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Over on the Locals VIP Freedom Fan. Thank you so much, I see. Andrew Stuff, Mando Mark. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Hey, I saw that same thing, guys. I don't know what that is. This stream keeps disappearing. Message says it was deleted. I don't know what that is. I saw the same issue at one point. Sounds like a weird Locals thing, but I think they've got it figured out now because it seems to be stable for me. If any issues, hop on over to maybe to Rumble or Facebook, Twitter X, YouTube. We're all over the place, and you can still chat in Locals. But every now and then there's a little bit of a glitch or a hiccup from all these different angles and different places. Hey, on Rumble this morning, we'll say good morning to such a time as this. Tam, Gary, good to see you. SJ, thank you so much for being here with us today. Beasley's in the house, and so many others. We did have some good news we had to break about the jobs report. I'll get to that. She just mentioned it. Jason, good morning. Sherry, Sean, thank you so much on the book. The bookers are here. Mary, thank you. Lady Vu over on X, good to see you this morning. If you are watching us on Twitter X, say hey. Or the tubers. Lots of times we get tubers hanging out with us too, and sometimes they feel like it may be a little more quiet over there. That's okay. You can do You can do as you please. We won't bother you. But we do appreciate your joining us. All right, yeah, that big jobs report coming in today. The latest on that. We'll have the details just moments. Stand by, folks. About 45 seconds out here. This is a major headline. I was to see what the markets do today. Donald Trump economy more than doubles job expectations. CNBC visibly stunned. All right, here we go, folks. Back after it. Welcome in.
Yacht Rock and set sail.
iHeartRadio.
Setwood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
Massive breaking news.
Data is out. The Made jobs report. 172,000. Is there any doubt that this anecdotal evidence about a good labor market has been very correct? That is a really strong number. And last month, well, we had a revision from 115,000 to 179,000,
wow.
Which means the 2-month revision has got to be over 90,000. That is a good number. Even manufacturing posted a 7,000 job gain. So
CNBC visibly stunned by the
how
news.
strong is 172,000? That would be the best number since 185,000 in March. These are solid numbers. If we look at what's going on with average hourly earnings come in at 3/10 as expected. If data is out, the Made jobs.
By the way, they're not going to cover that on CNN or MSDNC 13 today. They just leave that alone. I guarantee your liberal uncle probably leave that one alone. They never talk about the good news, but we do, and that's why we're here. More of it coming up. Our good friend Kyle Olson on the way. First, we check the headlines. Bottom of the hour here.
Tackling the hot button issues with style. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Rod Stewart.
We never get the smart ones, though, Jason. That's the problem. I welcome all. I welcome all into conversations here. I wish we could have some good ones, but we never really have. It's always kind of missing the mark on the trolls. Always kind of missing the mark. All right, so we've got the jobs numbers, which we're hearing are incredible, obviously. Let's see what this Drudge talking about. The Drudge? Probably not. What's this? Drudges? Oh, God. This is so funny. He's obsessed, and so are the leftists, with the UFC fight, and they don't like the stage or the lighting rig that's gone up. They're just so triggered. Meanwhile, did you see this? And this is probably a good one. The reflecting pool, because that's another one of these. And gosh, wouldn't it be nice if people, especially people on the left, wouldn't it be nice if they could just admit it? If they could just say, we thought this was going to happen, but we're completely wrong. In other words, remember how they were like saying, "Oh, the reflecting pool's going to look bad." There's all kinds of lies that came out about it, but they started filling it. In fact, the painting was finished last week. I think it was on time, under budget. Anyway, as the painting was finished, the water then started begin to get pumped into the pool itself. And you can see there, it's already starting to reflect. The reflecting pool is up and running. And I've actually seen No. Oh, you want to see the moment that took place? It's actually kind of cool. So here's the moment. Doug Burgum, who is the Secretary of Interior, is that what he is? I believe so. And so he oversees this type of thing. He posted this to his account yesterday as, I believe it was in the afternoon, the water started pumping up through the Great Here comes the water. Now, I haven't seen an updated, I'm going to have to look. I haven't seen an updated picture yet. But one of the best so far, one of the best memes has to be this. It's the liberal tears that are being filled into the Trump himself posted that. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. And as you can imagine, there are some really good ones. But it's going to take the water a little bit of time to probably to get in there. And here's just some of what it looks like now in the early stages, coming up through the grates there. Back to the tears. This is from last night. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Now it's only about like a third of the way filled, it looks like. Last night. But I wonder if there's any update to photos from today. But again, remember, we were told that it wasn't going to reflect. That was another lie we were told. The water was going to be too blue. It was going to look, Trump, everything's so tacky, it won't work.
Okay, so they just started filling it a few hours ago, and the big question was, will the reflecting pool still reflect? Well, yes, indeed it will. Take a look right now. This is, of course, a live look as they are filling the pool from the middle. This all started back in April when President Trump said they would repair and repaint the 2,000-square-foot pool. Workers drained it at that point. It has been cleanup maintenance mode ever since. Crews have power washed and fumigated the granite pool before they got this American flag blue colored coating. Here's what folks who saw some of the filling today had to tell us. And by the way, most everyone we spoke to was visiting from out of state.
I think it's going to be beautiful. It really is. And we're coming back in the fall just so we can see it.
Clean, painted, refilled.
Okay.
We came in back in 2020 and it was under maintenance, and we come back in 2026 hoping to see the pool, and it's back in maintenance again.
I've always seen it on TV, and I'm like, for the first time here for us, I think it's going to look very nice. Yes.
Where are you guys visiting from?
Texas, San Antonio, Texas.
Happy to see it. Can't wait till it's done.
I see you taking selfies with it.
Yeah. Can you take my picture? Am I live right now? What's happening?
It's not live, but I'm happy to take your photo.
Hey, number one, I'm Canadian.
Yes, in fact, we did an entire...
By the way, that was like an awkward interaction, wasn't it?
Photo shoot. A lot of people are coming by to see what this looks like at this hour.
Now, I don't think you may not be able to hear it, but I caught it. Do you hear what's playing in the background there at the reflecting pool location?
Okay, so final price tag expected to be about $13 million. That is much, much higher than the initial $1.5 million
that is worship music, praise and worship music. I don't know I don't know where it's coming from, but it's clearly showing up on the back of the broadcast there. That's interesting, isn't it? I think that's Chris Tomlin, our God. Take a listen one more time. We got to jump back.
President Trump had quoted. Now, in the last couple of hours, he also mentioned he was going to add on to the Lincoln Memorial a promenade connecting the Lincoln to the Potomac.
That's fascinating, isn't it? Hang on, folks. Back on the air.
And siding as well. Get an estimate now and find out more at roofdoctor.com. That's roofdr.com.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Oh, so much to cover today. By the way, you want to jump in the program, you can. Anytime, join the program on a free-for-all Friday, 616-774-2424. The reflecting pool is now officially reflecting. That's another piece of the news that apparently you probably won't hear today in some of these places. So jobs report is massive. And it's so funny because it's another example. I was just talking about this behind the scenes live stream off the air while we were in our news break here. And if you ever, by the way, if you ever want to join us, Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, you name it. Lots of folks hanging in, enjoying the party. But I'm showing the videos, and we heard nothing but just like doom and gloom from the left and the media. But I repeat myself about this particular situation, the paint that was going to be used, and how the pool it was going to look gaudy and too blue and all of this, and it wasn't going to reflect, and it was this whole thing. And now that it's done, and the water actually started pumping up last night into the pool itself, and now we've actually seen the reflection take place like immediately. And then last night was gorgeous again. It's just another example, and probably like really one of the best examples of how they lie to you about everything, even the silliest, stupidest, dumbest, smallest things. What do you think they're doing about the big things? Kyle Olson joins us now to set the record straight, founder of the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. And Kyle, I know that's one of your biggest missions and goals there at the Midwesterner. That's why you started the thing.
Well, setting the record straight, that's a tall order. I saw a picture. It was like a side-by-side comparison of the White House lawn, and then a picture of the supposed setup of the UFC, cage match thing, and it was just totally fabricated. It was but I think this is what happens when people have Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah,
it does not matter what he does; they will hate it. If he has the National Guard in D.C. to clean up crime, they will hate it. They will hate anything that he does.
It really is shocking. Some of them are waking up. We've seen some videos of a few of them, but you're right. I mean, it's so unfortunate because why would you let anyone, I don't care who it is, have it that much control over your life and your happiness? I mean, get out, touch some grass, like enjoy. It's Michigan. It's summer. Things are really starting to bloom and heat up here. Gosh, get out and enjoy it and I don't know, give yourself a break. But it really is, to me, it just shows you how they orchestrate on every level, even the smallest level, to create these lies, and then people just buy them hook, line, and sinker.
Right. Well, and look what is happening right now with Graham Plattner, where the Democrats are making excuses. They will vote for him because they hate Donald Trump so much. They want a Democrat to win that Maine Senate seat. And so they will overlook all of the allegations, the Nazi tattoo, all of the horrible comments on the internet, these new allegations again by at least one woman, but apparently there's multiple women. They will overlook all of that because they hate Donald Trump so much and want to defeat him in the U.S. Senate. Yeah, it's disgusting, but it is another great example of unfortunately, that sort of derangement syndrome gone awry. Well, speaking of some of the funnier things, deranged stories and more happening here in Michigan, you've got a couple of really good ones right now at the Midwestern, the Midwesterner.news. I don't know where we should start, but I got to tell you, this gas leaf blower situation, police in Ann Arbor asking residents to turn in their neighbors for violating the ban on. Look, I understand. You hear somebody mowing the grass or blowing or whatever it is that's going on, and and you're just trying to relax outside. Maybe it can get. Maybe it's a little bit too much. I've often thought to myself, maybe we should take one day, and we used to do this, by the way, right? Sunday, where we don't do anything. We don't do any of that stuff. We just take a rest, take a breather, folks. In Ann Arbor?
No, never in Ann Arbor. But it's funny to me, though,
This is like the Gestapo, and I think at one point we even had. Did we lose him? See if you can grab him back. I think at one point we even had. I think it was East Grand Rapids who was kind of trying to pull the same thing. So the gas-powered leaf blowers, they are, they're noisy, but on top of it, they're part of the climate change issue, and that's why they made this push. But gosh, Kyle, are you ready to turn your neighbors in over it?
It's crazy to me, and what I think why this matters to people in West Michigan is because this is the direction that East Grand Rapids is going, it's baffling to me that this is the way people want to live. But yes, what is happening is Ann Arbor passed this. They actually passed a millage to fund climate initiatives. And so taxpayers in Ann Arbor are paying for these sorts of things.
Crazy.
But the Ann Arbor police posted on social media to call them if you hear your neighbors are violating this order with the gas-powered leaf blower. And it doesn't matter, or it doesn't make any sense to me that this is, the way people want to live in Ann Arbor. But like I said, this is coming to East Grand Rapids, and this is the direction that they're going.
Kyle Olson, the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. We look at the stories that pop up here from time to time, and we'll see national news, and sometimes we won't even notice, like this story. I saw the story earlier this week, but I didn't realize there was a Michigan connection. The Midwesterner has it. The foreign nationals charged for trying to smuggle in the monkeypox into the United States has a Michigan connection itself, doesn't it? Right through one of our airports.
Yeah, so there were a couple individuals, foreign nationals, and what jumped out to me was that they work for the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, which is a federal agency. And my first thought was, why do we have foreign nationals working for the NIH? But they attempted to bring these vials of monkeypox through the Detroit airport, and were caught, and then were deceiving. The reason they were charged was because they were deceiving foreign or federal officials about their intent and what exactly they were doing. And so this is another example of why we need border security. I think that all these federal agencies really need to scrutinize, first of all, their intent. And is this sort of should federal and U.S. taxpayers be paying for this sort of research and activity? And why are Americans not doing that? And why are foreign nationals doing that?
Yeah, boy, some really good questions there. Speaking of good questions, and I don't know if she even has answers for them. But Jocelyn Benson in the hot seat again. This Southern Poverty Law Center story keeps getting deeper and deeper. Now we find out that they were actually paying people to stay in the Klan.
Details of even more alleged fraud committed by the center against its own donors and banks. According to this new indictment, a Southern Poverty Law Center employee was actually dating an informant inside a white supremacist group, all while the center paid that same informant over $1 million in donor money.
Wow.
And when two members of the KKK reached out to the law center, hoping to take advantage of a program that helped people leave extremist groups, well, the law center paid them to stay in the KKK instead.
You can't make this up. It's apparently we got so much racism here in America, we have to pay to make it happen. And the craziest part here, Michigan, the woman who wants to be your next governor was on the board during it all, and she doesn't really have too much of an answer for that, does she?
No, and it reminds me of people like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, who they were desperate to keep racism going because that makes them relevant and keeps and maintains their power. And it looks like that's exactly what the Southern Poverty Law Center was doing, where they were propping up these hate groups and these, awful people, propping them up in order to keep pointing at them and saying, see, hate is in America, and we you need to give us money. The government needs to give us money in order to, vanquish these people from society, while they were the very ones who were keeping them in society.
Yeah.
And Jocelyn Benson has not answered for this. She spoke very briefly at the Detroit Chamber conference, where she said, she was on the board, but it was mostly ceremonial. And the reason that is BS is because if you look at her work history, she graduated from Wellesley College in Massachusetts, and then she moves from Massachusetts to Alabama to work at the Southern Poverty Law Center as a quote hate crimes investigator.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting information about what exactly she was doing and who she was cavorting with there, which will come out. But the idea is she was an activist, and so you that she leaves the Southern Poverty Law Center. She comes to Michigan. She becomes the dean of the Wayne State Law School. Then she is appointed to the Southern Poverty Law Center board. And you mean to tell me that the activist just sort of sat back and was just sort of, passively watching what was going on in sort of a ceremonial attitude? That just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And so I think she's speaking with a lot of legalese now, because she's trying to separate herself both legally, but I think also politically from what is going on. But to see what the Southern Poverty Law Center was doing and what these allegations are needs to be scrutinized, and Jocelyn Benson needs to be asked a lot more about it, which may be why she chose to skip the Fox 2 debate last night. And which I thought was funny. Fox 2 actually posted a picture, and they actually had an empty chair for her. So they were not taking the fact that she backed out. They didn't take that very lightly.
No, and I mean, gosh, this is kind of a new thing. I mean, if you go back to, that most recent times, this is not. People used to come and they used to debate and they'd exchange the ideas and have at it. But yeah, there's the empty chair posted by the Midwesterner last night next to her opponent. All right, so let me ask you this. There's another thing about her I got to ask. She's spotted on Mackinac Island before we wrap up here with the rest of those muckety mucks. I guess living it up there with a 35. That while everybody else is out here trying to scrape by, and largely because of her and the rest of the Nessel and Whitmer and the rest of the Democrats here in this state, and the damage Biden did over the last years. $35,000 accessory she has with her on Mackinac. The old bag's been busted.
Well, so I wrote a commentary yesterday and just asked the question: Is this the same bag? Because Justin, I will profess to you, I don't know much about handbags. But I can look at pictures and they look very similar to me. And so I just asked the question, is this really a $35,000 handbag?
Mm-hmm.
And the Lansing media and the Benson campaign just came unglued that this was offensive. And no, it's really just a knockoff.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
a $60 knockoff. I have no
Sure,
idea.
sure,
I just asked the question.
Yeah.
And they apparently didn't like that very much.
I can't ask questions. I found that out back a few years ago, Kyle. But that won't stop us. We'll continue to do so. I'm glad you will too, by the way. Don't just bookmark them. Surely do that as well. But while you're there, go on over, put your email in, make sure you get updates from the Midwesterner. The Midwesterner.news as the train keeps rolling down the tracks. We'll keep you up to date with the latest as well. Kyle, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it. God bless. More after this as a free-for-all Friday rolls in. Maybe we can squeeze in a call or two. May have enough time for that. Back with more. Don't go anywhere. It's West Michigan Live. The fastest hour in radio is flying.
FYI. Like, literally. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, June 5th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. The FBI in Detroit announcing the 2 foreign nationals who allegedly tried to smuggle the monkeypox virus in 113 vials through the Detroit Metropolitan Airport have been charged. Ann Arbor police asking city residents to turn in their neighbors violating a ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. This ban stems from a citywide ordinance approved by the Ann Arbor City Council back in December of 2023 that aims to phase out the use of gas-powered leaf blowers in the city entirely by the year 2028. And Michigan's wholesale marijuana tax bringing in just 33% of projected revenues for road repairs. The Treasury had projected an $86 million haul, which is short by $52 million. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
What? All right, folks. Full speed ahead. Melissa, you know she's not walking around with a fake purse. Why in the heck is a handbag $35,000? It's a bunch of stupid people buying stupid things. I mean, even if you could afford it, it's just ridiculous. Why would you do that? Gritter says his handbags aren't that expensive. I don't doubt it, Gritter. You're a man of reason. Probably the best way to put it. A man of reason. I just, some of this stuff, it's enough to like boggle the brain. Boggle the brain. All right. Full speed ahead, folks. About a minute 30 left. In fact, we've got some interview that exposes. In fact, there's a woman named Emily Miller. She's a journalist. She's exposing. We've been talking about the reflecting pool this morning. She's been exposing some of this stuff. I'll play a little bit before we get back on the air here.
Oh, hey, everyone's saying I should ask you all my questions.
Okay, ask away.
Sitting here standing on an expansion joint.
Slab right here has a lip like this that slides under with this one, and this one has the reverse. Open up. Go.
Yeah, I can explain back and forth.
Gotcha. Best day ever of my life.
By the way, she shared in some of this that this pool loses thousands of gallons of water every year because Obama's repair failed. Now isn't that sort of prophetic in a lot of ways? It's emblematic, I would certainly say. Hey, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you click share on the program today. I want to give you something cool from inside the Justin store. A tee, a hoodie, maybe a mug. Oh, yeah, at America 250 gear next week, you'll see it. And folks in the VIP will be able to vote here this weekend on what we come out with. So it'll be great, folks. Hang on, back on the air. Yesterday's news, the Dow surging nearly 900 points, a record close. What about the markets today? We'll get a check of that on the way. Stepping into the weekend in a good way. By the way, if you kind of dread weekends now because there's all kinds of things that you'd like to do, but you just can't do what you used to be able to, you may want to step into the Good Feet store. And whether it's playing with the kids or the grandkids or the gardening you want to do, taking the walks, the issues with your feet, your back, or your legs. I know because I've had them through the years. It's not fun. It really can stop you right dead in your tracks. And, I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be that way. When I walked into the Good Feet store, the personalized arch supports,
and the system that they use helped me get back on track. And now I keep up with, obviously, staying on my toes to the news here. And then I keep up with my kids. My little girls are 3 and 5. And I'm telling you, it's never a dull moment in either case, either way. But you can too. Get back to all those things. Comfort, confidence, whether you're walking, weeding, you name it. With the Good Feet store, 28th Street in front of Costco, and Portage in front of Kohl's. I think you're going to love it. Okay, back after it, folks, as we continue the behind-the-scenes live stream. Yeah, I told you 8,000 federal workers can now be fired. We'll talk about that in the after show, the show after the show. Zelensky asking Putin for a meeting to end the Ukraine war. That's interesting. And some other pieces of good news that you just you probably will not hear anywhere else. All right, so let's take a look, if we can, the behind-the-scenes live stream coming up. We'll get into the markets as well today because we had a big pop yesterday, as I mentioned. Dow surging nearly 900 points of the record close yesterday. Massive movement, but that doesn't mean it's going to stick around. In fact, on a day like today, it could move. It could move down. We do have some red on the screen up there. Chip sell-off. NASDAQ falls as chip sell-off. Yields rise after jobs report. I don't. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Either they don't believe the jobs report, or there's something else that's driving it in the market. But it's always a roller coaster ride. You know how that is. We talk about that all the time. We'll keep an eye on it over the next couple of days as well through the weekend, as we have the stories that may move things on Monday. All right. Digging into the reflecting pool in all its glory when we get into the after show, plus some of the stories that you will not hear anywhere else. The Glenn Beck program is coming up next. We'll do it with you back on Monday here. And in the meantime, just wishing you a great weekend. All the best. Back with you then. God bless.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio,
An iHeart radio station.
guaranteed human.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we know dads, the ones who know how to build.
All right, folks. Stand by for news. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let me click a few buttons, and then we're rolling. Rolling.
Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay.
To the after show, folks. The show after the show. That's why it's never a dull moment. It's never enough time to get to everything that we want to get to each and every day on this program. That's why we started this show just for you. Click share if you care. By the way, sharing is caring here. And of course, we're going to give somebody something cool from inside the Justin store. I got tees, I got hoodies, I got mugs, all kinds of stuff inside the store, and love to make sure that you get it. Yeah, you can buy stuff inside the store. That definitely helps support us, helps you get the word out about what's going on. But I'd like to just give it to you. If you share, you'll be in the running. At the end of the program, we'll pick a name. Facebook, Twitter, X1, we'll get our locals, YouTube. And then the other thing you can help us do is help us break the algorithm. They're always trying to, they're shenanigans. You know how the shenanigans go. Always shenanigans afoot. And so your cooperation is appreciated. Father's Day sale ongoing right now. MyPillow.com/store. My store, or MyPillow.com/Justin. MyStore.com/Justin. Both of you use promo code Justin. You're going to get all kinds of great goodies and deals. You can get Dad a robe. You can get him socks, pillows, sheets. I think Dad would love coffee. I mean, I just speaking from my experience. That's what I think. But take a look because you can help support Mike first and foremost, right? And then you can help support this program as well while you're at it. MyPillow.com and mystore.com/Justin. My Pure Health Solutions. We got another big podcast dropping with the Maha Movement, Maha Missy coming this weekend. You may have heard it already when we aired it on the after show earlier, but if you missed it, we get into all kinds of really juicy stuff. In fact, music that may heal you. And sort of the weird thing that's tied into this, I think you're going to love. By the way, you want to get back on track? You could lose 30, 40 pounds in 20, 30 days, 2 to 3 pant sizes, maybe even 40 days. And I'm telling you, you're going to feel better than ever before. We got people getting off their medications. I've heard stories of people getting off their sleep apnea machines. I've heard stories of people finally got the energy to power through the day now, get everything done that they want to. Yeah. And don't forget, you're going to be able to finally sleep well at night. That's what makes this so different, is that you're healing from the inside out with My Pure Health Solutions, Maha Missy and the team. Healthwithjustin.com. I'm down 40. My wife is too. 269-964-4044. In fact, we're down more than that, but we'll have some news on that in the coming days as we get ready to start another phase. 269-964-4044. You probably won't have to do that, but I got a little bit more to go. I got a big mission, and I am underway. Thank you so much, folks, for being here and supporting the program and being a part of this. I want to get into the reflecting pool because it's such an obvious to me. It's such an obvious reflection of what the Democrats and the media do with everything. They lie about everything. So there's an independent journalist. This woman has gone out and she's actually had these conversations with the pool guys. She calls herself, I think, the running journalist. She runs through D.C. and covers things. Anyway, her name is Emily. And here she is talking to the contractors that are actually putting in the pool. They sealed it and coated it, did the other repairs as well. Listen to what they tell her about Trump and, the pool, from the pool guys.
When was the first time you've met or spoken to President Trump?
The day he drove into the reflecting pool. The day he drove into the reflecting pool. It's not a no-bid contract. It was a sole source contract, which means that the government chose the material that they wanted applied, which was polyurea.
By the way, that was one of the other things that we heard too. It's a no-bid contract. He gave it to his buddies,
and from there they chose the manufacturer of that material, which was rhino linings. We have an estimated 20% margin in there, but that's at the beginning of a job, and that is perfectly normal in this industry.
Well, the President Trump said it's going to cost $1.8 million.
I have no idea where that number came from. The proposal that I gave the government from the day I started talking to them is the same as my contract is today. I've never done work for him, never done work for his companies, never done work for anyone affiliated with any of his companies. This isn't a swimming pool. This is called a primary containment. This is an industrial containment. The swimming pool will be 3 to 12 feet deep and have a light colored bottom so that you can see the bottom. For safety, the reflecting pool is from 6 to 12 inches deep normally, a little deeper in the middle maybe, and it has a dark bottom so that it reflects a mirror reflection of what is on the other side of that pool, which is exactly what this pool does when it's full of water.
Did you vote for him?
Yes, ma'am, 3 times.
What I love about particularly these people is that, and again, doing the work, these are Americans. These are real Americans. When we watch news stories or whatever, when we see these talking heads or pundits or politicians, whoever, we're not talking about real Americans. We're talking about people that live in a bubble
We're talking about people that aren't in touch with reality. These guys working on this thing, these are real life, everyday people. In fact, look at them. These are the kind of people that make America move. These pundits and the politicians, they run some sort of scam, right? They run some sort of smoke and mirrors is really what I'd call it. But they want you to believe, that they're responsible for the production of the country and that they are the ones that we have to bow to in order to just even get crumbs. And nothing could be further from the truth. The people that make the country move are these two gentlemen. The people that actually have, say, boots on the ground, boots in the soil, really, right? The ones that are doing the work, the ones that are actually out there, face it, whatever it is, each and every day. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is you do. If you work, you're making the country move. And by the way, that's another piece of why I love this. Not only is she like completely blowing the lid off of all of the stupid lies that the media has presented, but again, she is she's done it in a really cool, I think, a creative way. Anyway, here's another one. Let's show. I think this is another report she did. The water refill takes 7 to 10 days. So they started that yesterday. So it's going to take a few days before it gets.
Oh, I see them now.
You have 3 feet of granite that's 9 inches thick, and then 13 feet of concrete.
Yeah, I just thought that's another good one. There's a few of these. I think she did like a series. Anyway, her name is Emily Miller, if you want to check it out. And again, the pool is still reflecting, or still filling rather. So the full reflection we probably won't get. But can I give you like an example of the left and how like deranged they are on the subject, on this particular subject? And I'm sorry if I'm harping on this too much. I apologize. I'll move on here in a second, but I just think this is so emblematic of everything. So some of the most complicated subjects are harder to point out and fact check because they're more nuanced. It may involve things that aren't as like clear to you. You may not understand how foreign policy works or the economy or this, that, or the other thing, right? So it's harder or the average person may, but it's harder to like pinpoint that nuttiness. This is something you can actually see. You can actually see it. So look at this guy. I mean, I know he's notoriously deranged. Actually, this guy isn't deranged, but he is pointing out the derangement of these bands. Listen to this, because this is how people feel. Kurt's not deranged. I didn't mean that. What I'm saying is, what he's saying is exactly how people feel, because he is quoting this. I don't even know who this is. Just some troll, probably. What is extremely disturbing is that one reporter in that room had the guts to tell, not one reporter in that room had the guts to tell Trump that the reflective pool is simply a pool of water and it isn't comparable to a building's height. Are these people serious? They can't be. And then Kurt pointed out the obvious insanity and said, Trump thinks the reflecting pool extends up into the air. Yes, sure. That's of course what he was saying. Like a skyscraper. You've made a convincing case of this. You are smart. Ignore the people who tell you differently. All right, so here's the video that they use. And Trump is pointing out, hey, look how big the pool is. And he's just used something to, people do this all the time when they talk about how many football fields even a skyscraper is. It doesn't mean they think the skyscraper's flat. It's just trying to give you perspective.
I just had this done. You're getting a first glimpse, but that's your size compared. So those are among the tallest buildings in the world, including the Empire State Building, World Trade Center, Sears Tower, Chicago. So if you lay it on its side, you'd take 2 or 3 of them to fill it in, because the width is almost 200 feet wide.
He's talking about how massive the project is. And essentially why he's doing that is he's touting not just the accomplishments, his accomplishments, but the accomplishments of the American people and what it's going to take, particularly those people that you saw filling in. Again, those are the real Americans. Those are the people really doing the work. Those are the ones that matter. This whole idea that it's talking heads or it's politicians or the influencers. Now, that's the new thing, the influencers. Or the influencers even influence anyone now. Are they able to influencing anyone anymore? I one would question and wonder about that. I'm just saying. But I pointed out, and I bring this story up because they will lie to you about a stupid, and I don't mean the pool stupid, but they will lie to you about something like this. Folks, just imagine what else they'll lie about. They will lie about anything and everything and some of the most serious subjects. And it is... Again, it is despicable. It's despicable. Some of the things that they'll do. Now, I've got a couple of big stories. I got some good news I want to get to. In fact, in Arizona, the Supreme Court is throwing out the case against the alternate electors. They'll call them fake electors, the alternate electors. We had the same scenario here in Michigan. And the AG there, who's just, speaking of deranged, out of the mind, trying to revive the case and then push it forward because they can't stand the fact. Arizona's a dangerous state, man. I know there's a lot of Republicans there. I know there's a lot of people that are there. I don't know that that I'd want to mess around there. You got Democrats in power, lots of rhinos as well. And there's a lot of people from Michigan that have gone to Arizona. I don't know, man. To me, it's a little too lost. I would prefer if I'm going to go someplace, people's the free state of Florida. Let's just be honest. Go to the free state of Florida. Enjoy a little freedom every now and again. You know what I mean? Where they've actually got it right. I don't know about you, but that's just my thought process when it comes to, where am I gonna ride out the storm in the coming years, particularly in the wintertime. Here in Michigan, that's just one of the things that we like to do. We like to get out of town. Hey, how about this news? And this is a big one. Speaking of travel in Michigan right now, and it is big news because again, we were told hey, it's the apocalypse. It's the end of the world, but gas prices actually going down. They've gone down so much right now on the lakeshore. People are paying, and if you're close, maybe try and fill up there this weekend. $3.85 a gallon. Some stations less than 30 miles away here in the Grand Rapids area, you're charging as much as $4.49 a gallon. $3.85 a gallon right now. Hello, I'll take that. Of course, oil prices we've seen have been kind of up and down, but they're not too far off right now. They're down.
All right, let's give you a couple other things that are happening right now. Fraud czar Colin McDonald revealing that any whistleblower who was turned away or intimidated is being invited to expose it all at the Trump DOJ. We talked with Small Business Administration, had the administrator today, Kelly Loeffler, about this and the billions of fraud they found with the PPP loans during the COVID era. They're coming.
Witness who wants to report fraud. It is shocking, some of the allegations that we're hearing out of Minnesota and other places, that for political correctness reasons or other reasons, whistleblowers were turned away. They were even sent away. They were sent packing. And that is not how we run law enforcement. And that's not how we'll do it in the DOJ and in the fraud division. Whistleblowers, we encourage you to come forward to share what you see, what you've learned. You will not be run out of town like you were in some of these other circumstances. That's really a shameful way of running law enforcement. That's not the way that we're going to do it. We are encouraging whistleblowers and anyone with information about fraud happening to come forward and to let us know, and we will treat you seriously. We will receive your information. We will vet it thoroughly, and certainly we will not run you out of town like has happened to you in the past.
They taking it serious. Find out. Fool around and find out era is here.
Show some of the vehicles that you've been able to seize, because these people, I mean, they take the money from us, steal it, and they're buying themselves luxury cars.
Jason said earlier in the chat, at great point, while grandma is eating cat food to survive, we got these people ripping off the American people. Not enough rope, as Gritter says.
I like to hopefully recoup this money. Where does that money go?
We are doing everything that we can in all of these cases to seize back, to claw back the ill-gotten.
Go back into the pockets of the American government. Again, I'm. You got to wonder how much of that debt. I know I asked that question earlier, but how much of the debt that we see, and again, as we're climbing every day, trillions and trillions, but how much of it is from waste, fraud, and abuse, particularly. And imagine not, imagine not having to deal with any of that, and that we didn't have any of that. You're talking about, thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands at some point, that you and your kids and your grandkids have saddled throughout the rest of your life. By the way, the reflecting pool reactions keep coming in from Democrats.
What is that?
That might be one of my favorite. This lady from ABC, when they had the gunshots going off there by the White House, she had that weird reaction. Now she's become a meme because of it. You can't get enough. You can't get enough of some of this stuff. That to me is just priceless. Hey, by the way, if you're new here, thank you for joining us on the behind the scenes live stream. We do a radio show each and every day, weekday 9 to 10 here Eastern, live from Michigan and beyond. We talk about all these things that matter here locally, but also throughout the country. And we're just glad you're here. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click share the broadcast. Somebody is going to get in the running today. Before we get out of here, I'm giving away a T-shirt, a hoodie, a mug, you name it. We'll let you go shopping inside the Justin store at justinbarclay.com/store. So pick something cool. And you, by the way, you don't have to be present to win. But you may want to click follow so you can end up coming back here if you ever do. Facebook's kind of funny sometimes with the algorithm and whatnot, so they show you us or not. And then the other way that we can stay in touch, which I always enjoy, is to get the good news that they won't tell you, right? The news they don't want you to see. When you go to justinbarclay.com/good news, justinbarclay.com/good news, my good newsletter, you'll also get access to the stack in there and so much more. Obviously, there's a lot going on
a lot going on every single day, and we try to make sure that we keep you up to date with these stories that matter most and more. Man, this story right here, oh my goodness, it's heartbreaking, and yet it has a silver lining. I don't know if you saw this story. It hit the internet probably a few days ago. An 85-year-old woman working at AMC theaters goes viral just for doing her job. Somebody captured a video of her. And on one hand, I don't know what to think about this. Like, hold on. Well, they did use it to help her, but videotaping people without them knowing, that's a tough one for me. I think it just shocked them so much that they decided they were going to do something to help this woman. Mary Ellen Aaron of Maryville, Tennessee, was caught on video hauling a heavy garbage bag and a cart as she went through to clean the theaters there. And you can see her, 85, hunched over. Why is this woman still working? The good news is, on this story, it does have a happy ending.
I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance.
This woman, this influencer, whoever this was, decided to take a video of her and thankfully did the right thing. This is incredible. She put in the caption of below, "Let's secretly help retire this beautiful woman. No one deserves to work at this age." They started a GoFundMe account.
Thank you so very much to all the wonderful people that have donated money to the GoFundMe.
Over 7,500 people donated money to help this woman retire.
And I'm overwhelmed and certainly blessed by the Lord and you wonderful people. Thank you.
Over $150,000. By the way, that's as this posting. I don't know where the GoFundMe stands today. That's a good question. I wonder what it capped out at, or if it's still going, because I'd like to throw a few bucks in it too. But again, as all of the crazy things that we see online on a daily basis and all of the nutty stuff that we watch, and just how sometimes you can watch or you could see things on social media, you can be scrolling through and you feel like you need to just take a shower afterwards. You just feel so just disgusted. All the things that you see. But in this case, in the scenario, the internet did not disappoint. It did not let her or any of us down. And again, the story is still developing, when you hear about who she is and what she's gone through.
I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean.
It's just an incredible moment. And it's enough to kind of give you a little bit, I think, of a boost and maybe I don't know, maybe you feel like, hey, guess restores your faith in humanity a little bit in some ways. I know some people like to work. And I know some people love what they do. And maybe Mary's her case. Maybe that's her situation and her scenario. But at the same time, she should be able to have the choice. And so people donating money for her to be able to do that, it's just heartwarming. Heartwarming. I love it. I love to hear it.
$5,000 for a local movie theater worker to help her retire.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's a lot of money.
Oh, 21-year-old Brooklyn Green had just watched a movie at AMC Theater in Maryville where she noticed an elderly employee pushing a cleaning cart. That led to Green posting a TikTok of the worker, telling people she deserves to enjoy retirement. The video raised nearly $150,000 in just 48 hours.
Wow.
Green went back to the theater where she was greeted by a manager who told her more about the woman. Her name is Mary. She'd been working at the theater for 45 years. Mary works to support her church and people in need.
Wow.
She's such a giver too. Like in her reaction video, she stated that she's been helping a mom and her kids, and she also gives the homeless money when she can, or food, and that just melted my heart because I was like, this is the person that deserves this.
Well, I'll put it this way. Like, maybe she doesn't work because she needs to. Maybe she works because she wants to. But even so, the fact that she'll be blessed with $150,000 to help other people, whether she uses it for herself or her church or others, so she sees a need, she's the right person to get that.
Came back tenfold to her.
Oh, Green said despite the money raised, if Mary wants to keep working, she, of course, will respect her wishes.
Isn't that something? And I do agree. I don't think we were ever meant to not do anything and to sit around. In fact, I think I can't imagine. I respect anybody's decision to do whatever, but especially after you've earned it, right? But I can't imagine a time that I'll maybe see for myself that I would ever stop. That's just me personally. Now, I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying I can't. I know I love what I do. So, there's that too. I absolutely love getting a chance to come on here and have conversations with you every day and do all the fun things that we do. So I love it. I love it. And I would never give it up. So I really don't ever see myself stopping anytime soon, at least in the long term. I mean, we have to stop for today because the show's over. But we'll be back Monday, I promise. And we have a podcast episode dropping this weekend as well with Maha Missy. Robert is our winner today. Thanks for sharing the conversations, the show with us today, Robert. Pick something out of the Justin store, justinbarclay.com/store. And this weekend, look out. America 250 gear could drop at any moment. I'm looking forward to that. We got some gear headed your way to celebrate this nation in our 250th year. In the meantime, God bless Brooklyn, and God bless Mary and these folks. I believe this is Tennessee, as I mentioned earlier, that are doing some things that are just incredible. Those news stories, the good news you won't hear anywhere else. JustinBarclay.com/good news to stay up to date. In the meantime, make it a great one, folks. God bless.